Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And my name is Brian. In case you're not aware, I'm a Masters player, especially in support, but that's not really important, to be honest, for the sake of this video. The main thing that I want to talk about in this video is the fact that I just got off I guess you could say a coaching session. I just got finished helping out or getting off a call from a player just recently who was looking for help. Okay. He was feeling very distraught about the way his games were going. Okay. Getting kind of tilted basically. And he was starting to feel like maybe he's just not a good player or that other people were calling him not a good player. And he wanted, he was seeking outside help on trying to get better. And I kind of understand where he's coming from because I think everyone's been there at least at some point in their lives in some way, shape, or form. So obviously I tried to do my best to help him out. And one of the biggest things that I noticed, and I'm kind of just reiterating a lot of stuff that I said to him, which is what I'm going to be saying to you guys, because I think it's a nice little learning coaching experience, advice, especially for a lot of you more average players out there or casual players as well, is the fact that sometimes having fun in a competitive video game, especially PvP competitive video games, does not always equate or equal to getting better. And I know this is not something that probably many of you are not really going to want to hear, but realistically speaking, if you want to have fun in a video game, let's just obviously use Pokemon Unite as an example. If you want to have fun at a video game, you have to be willing to accept that you're going to lose games. It's just going to happen. Now, the topic of today's video is, as you probably noticed from the title and whatnot, is essentially what differentiates the average player from a great player. Okay. Just to kind of make this a little bit easier to understand, let's take a cooking example I used in my coaching session, just to make it a little bit easier. Let's say we're making a bowl of oatmeal. Okay, keeping it simple. We're making a bowl of oatmeal. Hopefully, most of you at least have made a bowl of oatmeal in your life. A lot of things that I would notice that players, a lot of players in these situations, what end up happening is when I'm explaining some of the things that's happening, and I'm trying to tell them that, like, don't focus on your teammates, focus on what you're doing and trying to make yourself better. One thing that I notice a lot of people tend to say is that, well, like, what? I'm not doing anything wrong. And that's part of the issue for a lot of these players' mentality, is the fact that I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong. I'm saying that what you're doing is that you're not trying to focus on how to be better in every single game compared to your previous games, but instead you're worrying too much on what your teammates are doing, which is getting in the way of you actually improving. Okay, so taking the bowl of oatmeal. Okay, day one, I made a bowl of oatmeal. Tastes good. All right, I didn't do anything wrong with it. It's not burnt. I didn't use the wrong amount of ingredients. I didn't cook it for too long. It's a good bowl of oatmeal. It tastes fine. Okay, it tastes average. It's an average bowl of oatmeal. Now, an average or casual player might, while making that bowl of oatmeal, might focus a little too much on, while they're making the bowl of oatmeal, they might focus a little too much on, like, oh, why did my mom not buy enough milk? I don't have enough milk to work with to actually make the oatmeal. Why did my sister or brother, where did they put the bag of sugar? I have no idea where it is. How am I supposed to make my oatmeal with a bag of sugar? Okay. The casual or average player will end up focusing too much on the obstacles in their way to actually make the bowl of oatmeal, that by the time they actually make the oatmeal, they don't have enough thought process left, mental capacity left, to actually improve their oatmeal, make it better. Whereas the great player, okay, or the great player, however you want to word it, instead, what their mentality is like, all right, I'm just going to work with what I got, okay, which leaves them enough room to think about, like, oh, hey, this is a good bowl of oatmeal, but I kind of want it to taste a little better. What can I do to make it better? Next day, they decide to add cinnamon. Boom! Adding cinnamon on top of your bowl of oatmeal, now that oatmeal feels fucking amazing. It still tasted good on day one, but day two with cinnamon, oh, that That's some good shit, okay? And this is the biggest difference for a lot of players. The average or casual player will tend to often focus too much on what the other people are doing, their teammates, or in this case, what your family is doing that's getting in the way of you just making a bowl of oatmeal. Whereas the good or great player, they understand that they can't control what other people do. They just take what they can get and they learn how to make the best use of what they got. Okay. And they're looking for ways on how they can improve the next day, or in this case for Pokemon Unite, how they can improve for the next match to make that bowl of oatmeal better. How can they add cinnamon into the next match? Okay. How can they get better? This is the biggest difference between good players, great players, exceptional players, and average players. And especially if you've never really played a competitive game before, or maybe you have played a PvP type game before, but maybe you only played it casually. You never actually tried to play competitively, seriously in the past. Maybe you've only picked up Pokemon Unite because it was Pokemon. So this is your first PvP experience in general. Some of you honestly kind of need to hear this. It might not necessarily be the advice that you're looking for, but it honestly is one of the biggest factors between players in ranks, is that higher elo players are simply they have a different mindset. They have a different mental approach towards how they approach the game compared to lower elo players. They think about the game differently. It's not the fact that they play differently, it's that the fact that they think about the game differently. They have a different approach, okay? How do you think so many high elo players figure out all these cool techs and whatnot on how to get crazy amount of value? That didn't just pop out of nowhere. They did it because of the fact they accepted oh, hey, I made a mistake here. What can I do to not make that mistake next time, but still get value, all right? Whereas other players, they're not thinking about what they could do. They're thinking about hey, why didn't you do this? Okay, I would not have died if you didn't do this, or you did do this, blah, blah, blah. They're putting too much blame on other people, and they're not putting enough blame on themselves. Because at the end of the day, the only factor that you can control in any competitive PvP game is yourself, especially if you're in solo queue. But at least in solo queue, the only factor that you can control is yourself. So you have to be able to take the lemons that life gives you and learn to make lemonade. Now, another thing that kind of popped up in the coaching session that I always wanted to talk to you guys is that simply just playing competitive Pokemon Unite just might not be for you. And that's perfectly okay. A lot of you might naturally want to play ranked more often, but you have to keep in mind, like I was mentioning in the beginning of the video, that having fun does not always equate to getting better, which usually ends up involving ranked. And this can be a large source of where people's frustrations and discomfort can come from, where a lot of casual average players love playing the game. They find it fun. They just want to have fun, but they go into ranked kind of just hoping to get better without actually actively trying to get better, if that makes sense. And you have to keep in mind that if this sounds like you or somewhere out there that you know, it's very possible that you just simply have conflicting values. Ask yourself, what are you actually trying to take out of this game? What's your goal here? What's your objective? Do you actually just want to have fun? Are you actually serious and motivated enough to actually grind and get better at the game? Because realistically, getting better at the game, grinding can be repetitive in order to build good habits. And a lot of times that can be boring as fuck. There's no sugarcoating it. It's like anything else in life. If you want to get better at literally anything in life, you have to put in the time and effort and work to get better at it. I'm sorry, there's no get rich quick scheme here to just instantly get to masters or get to a higher rank. If you want to get better at the game, you have to be able to be motivated enough. You have to be willing to put in the time and effort to do so. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to critically analyze yourself as to what you are doing wrong, not your teammates, what are you not doing to get better, you're not going to improve. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this was a little enlightening. go ahead and let me know your experiences in the comment section down below. I am more than happy to talk to people. My Discord is open to everybody. I have a link to it in the description down below if you'd like to check it out. Come ask questions. We have a bunch of high elo players that are constantly helping each other out, playing with each other, trying to help each other get better. So if you feel like that you actually are serious about getting better, you do want to improve, or you just want to have fun, by all means, join the Discord. We have a ton of like-minded people in here to help you out in that regard. So without further ado, hope you guys have a great one. I'll see you guys in the next video, and take care, y'all.